My name is Melanie Manchot, and this is Dance All Night Leeds. To me, dancing is language. It's a way of speaking. And I think, again, sort of thinking about notions of the self and identity, we are embodied. We are embodied beings. This is the shell that carries us through life. And this shell is rhythm. It has rhythm, which is also why arguably everybody dances. Whether you consciously dance, but we all have dance in us. And all cultures have dance in them. They have rhythm, they have forms of expressions, whether it's in celebration or in ritual, that employ dancing. So I wanted to bring together as many different forms of dance as we could gather in one space to dance alongside each other, and for that to become an expression of the multiplicity and, in a sense, polyphonic nature of our cities and many, many cultures that coexist, that we can stay specific within different cultures and languages and forms of expression, but coexist around others. So what Dance All Night asks all these dancers to do is to pay attention to each other and to maneuver their way around each other. But the hip-hoppers stay in hip-hop, and the ballroom dancers continue as ballroom dancers, and the Kankan dancers or the Bulgarian dancers, they stay within their idiomatic language, but do so around each other. And that was really the impetus, the starting point for the first one in Paris that took place 12 years ago. It was electrifying, it was amazing, it was so beautiful. And even at the time then, I thought it would be really interesting to potentially stage a sister event in London, also because they're culturally very different. What would the response in London be? And interestingly, I'd always sort of thought that there could be a really nice a two-part version, that there would be one version in Paris and one in London. They're kind of cities that are always sort of linked in some way. London won for the first time. We worked with dance organisations around the East End. So Liverpool Street, the East End, was the centre of that particular art night. And we invited many, many dance organisations and schools and associations from around the East End to participate, but asked them to initially leave their home, their kind of rehearsal space, and dance through the streets of London towards Liverpool Street and then come together there. So rather than in Paris, where they were already all in place and then danced around each other, in London it was really like these big streams of dancers coming through the streets for about an hour, and then they would meet each other like these sort of tributaries and then continue dancing together towards the square. Then they all came onto the square, danced together, and then we literally hosted dance lessons. And because it was in this huge space behind Liverpool Street Station, Exchange Square, we hosted dance lessons from 9 in the evening till 2 in the morning on silent disco headphones. And there were, I think, 750 headphones. They were out all night. And people took dance lessons, and like 750 dancers on the square at any point of time. Was pretty amazing. Arts Council collection was sort of part of the journey from a fairly early time through the Art Fund, and Art Fund very generously supported the project with a sort of commission to acquisition fund, and that's how, in a really wonderful way, the final work came to be in the Arts Council collection. In Leeds, the invitation to make another iteration specific to Leeds is very much shaped by Leeds being the birthplace of the Reclaim the Night marches in 1977. And those marches really sparked a worldwide attention to safety, particularly for women at night, because at the time they came at the kind of back end of the Yorkshire Ripper murders, and the police response to that at the time asked women to stay at home. And women then, in a sense, fought back and say, well, wait a minute, why should we stay at home? We haven't done anything wrong. Now we are being, in a sense, imprisoned in the home and are no longer allowed out. So the marches were very much about, again, claiming the space of the night and claiming the streets of the night and making a strong demand for the safety of city streets for all. So the dancers in Leeds will end up on a space called Victoria Gardens, which is literally right outside Leeds Art Gallery. The space is significant because that's where the two Reclaim the Night marches ended up, in this square. But also since then, it has been a space of protest. That's where over and over, again and again, people gather to protest across the years and again at the moment. So really in Leeds, the kind of the political and the sort of idea of reclaiming the space of the night and the space of the streets for people of all genders, denominations, ethnicities, having a form of protest for the urgency that streets need to be safe. That's really the kind of political message that contributes to the work in Leeds.